Hey guys, let's be curious. I happened to be switching channels, and I was watching Travis Smiley just for a second because they were talking about women empowerment, and they had a multi-ethnic cast on there, and women talking various things. And here's this very elegant Chinese lady. I suppose she was Chinese. She was Asian, and she was in a blue dress and long legs and very articulate and stuff. But she got herself on a little bit of a hot seat because she started talking about women being empowered by work. And that's something I'm very serious about, is work empowerment. And the thing is that she goes on and she says, well, we want women to come out of poverty, just like they do around the world in various places, and like they do in China. And people started giving sideways looks to her, like, well, more like these feminist empowered women type are like, and it's like, and then she very quickly went on and started stumbling over her sentences just a little bit. And she goes, well, because it's part of the thing of jobs coming out from poverty as opposed to no jobs. At least these people are taking the money back to their villages and various other places and becoming more empowered in the communities. And it's like, and she wrapped it up with that. But I was sitting there thinking, like, well, I was sitting there yelling at the TV, no! That's not the way! And yada yada. But that's, how I am. And so I'm like, what I was thinking to myself, never mind what I was saying, was that it's like, well, that is good. Women are being more empowered, but that's completely the bad model. And I was thinking about this, about economic statism and my views about economics, that I'm a progressive, and I am a progressive. But what the last thing I want, even though I do want economic empowerment, is to have it be a type of empowerment that gives least to everybody to get a little bit out of poverty, but nobody to actually gain status in society. You see, that's not beating the negative aspects of class reductionism, or no, class stratification, economic stratification. You want a dynamic economy. And that's just something China doesn't have. I mean, it's good that, in a way, that they're choosing between feeding many people and people just being in such crushing poverty that the only choice is starvation. But by that token, you could have society try to empower everyone, and people who are, by grace of that empowerment, are not dying in the street, are really living really unequitable lives. So it's a very hard choice between somebody who is not receiving any money and is suffering crippling poverty, or people that are being stranglehold into living into lives of pure servitude, when it's supposed to be more like, it's supposed to create a dynamic economy, hopefully one that's based off some type of renewable energy, so it becomes a balanced one through various practices, which I can get in another time, and therefore becomes a way to empower all people, and becomes a reward-based society that still has a humanitarian component in its working rights for all people, and its standard of living, even as you go up the scale. You want to have a standard of living even for rich people, or the working rich, who might just have all their property tied up in like a small uh, business farm that could quickly get up into $1 million, $2 million, but really doesn't have any quality of life because all the equity is taken up into profits and redistributing those profits for the next time to keep the cycle going. We need a quality of life for everyone that if someone wants to slow down and live, they could do that by sliding gracefully down the scale and similarly sliding down a progressive tax and yet still have a standard of living that isn't being tax excessive, but yet have it where you go up the scale and it still creates incentive for work and reward in society, but doesn't have an oligarch top end up or a top end gravy train with no real trickle down. We need a society that's both balanced and dynamic, and that's the way it should be. I like to think of it as a Jetson society. You know, you got a flush at the bottom and a nice status, but a balanced status at the top. And that's just something China is not doing. So that's where kind of economic progressive I am. And that's what it needs to be. And so I think that lady, although I sense that she had good intentions, is everything I really find wrong with economic progressives. Is that it's too much for too many. There's never too many, but it needs to be enough to make it a dynamic economy, and that's the most important thing, is to keep the money circulating. That's the point, is to try to bring as much as you can to as many as you can within practical means to keep the circulation going. I think that's the important part to make it a functional dynamic of the rights of people versus the rights of ownership. Thank you.